So mahalo for everyone for attending the Kaʻao discussion. This is a series of discussions on understanding the Kaʻao framework within the context of the Hawaii Papaʻokeʻao Initiative and Maui College. Presented by Dr. Hōkulani Holt. This discussion provides an overview of the Kaʻao framework within the context of Maui College, University of Hawaii, Hawaii Papaʻokeʻao, and our work and our personal lives. Today we will be focusing on Haʻalele. Please save the date, December 6th and January 20th for future Kaʻao discussions. Thank you, Hōkulani, for being here today. Please share your screen.
Okay, aloha mai kako, aloha. As I look out on our all of these faces and names, some faces, some names, as I look out on this little array of squares that I have here, I see names that I haven't seen in a really long time. Hi, Sam. That I haven't seen in a really long time. And those of you that come in and out of my presentations. Hi, Bobby. I think Bobby comes to everything that I put on. So, you know, it's lovely to see faces that I haven't seen long time, as well as faces that I see often. And that's why I wanted to stay here, because I wanted to see the names as you come in, so that you know, I can become familiar. And some of you I don't know at all. So I wanted to preface this by saying that as Joyce said, this is the second of a 4-part series. Yeah, so this is the second of a 4-part series. Some of it I repeat, and some of it is brand new, mostly because some of you have come before and some of you are brand new to my presentation. So I like to go back a little bit and then move forward, so we kind of all move together. So welcome. The Hawaii Papaʻokeʻao is, as most of us may know, is an initiative to develop the University of Hawaii as a leader in Indigenous education. It is to develop policies and initiatives that support the groundwork needed to foster student success and leadership, while also being a part of our community. The Native Hawaiian values are practiced at all levels of the institutional decision-making. These are the goals that we want to have. There are 3 thematic goals: leadership development, community engagement, and Hawaiian language and cultural parity. There is a page, if you go to www.hawaii.edu, Hawaii Papaʻokeʻao, one whole long word, Hawaii Papaʻokeʻao/overview. It is what the Hawaii Papaʻokeʻao committee has on there, which includes many of the things that are coming up and were done in the past. So if you want to look at a fuller explanation of Hawaii Papaʻokeʻao, go to the www.hawaii.edu, Hawaii Papaʻokeʻao, all one word, /overview. The Kaʻao Framework can be how we approach all aspects of student and personal success, as well as an approach to teaching and being in the campus community. The Kaʻao Framework is a framework that was developed by Dr. Tangaro, Taupori Tangaro in Hawaii Island, Hawaii Community College, and has been shared with all of the colleges throughout the university system. It is how we can move together in unison and purpose. It is how we look at our lives and our world. It's not only for student success, it is also for classroom success and our personal success as well. And it is exactly what will help us live well here on our island home. Ua lehu a mano ka Hikina a ka Hawaiʻi. Great and numerous is the intelligence of the Hawaiian people. This is one of numerous olelo noʻeau, or sayings, that have been left to us by our kupuna. These olelo noʻeau span the gamut of Hawaiian outlook, environmental knowledge, family and personal behavior, and numerous other topics. 2,000 of these are in the book Olelo No'eau, and you can find something about an Olelo No'eau that you might be thinking of. As we begin to understand these Olelo No'eau, Mo'olelo, and Kaʻao, we begin to understand how we can live well together, not only on our island home, but in the world also. Many things that worked well for our kupuna can still work well for us. And that's why I like to use Olelo No'eau to illustrate how we can live well in this place that we call home. This is one of the introductory statements for Hawaii Papo Kaʻao. It says, creating a model indigenous serving institution of Hawaiian education that values and promotes student success, leadership development, and well-being of ohana and community. So this is what Hawaii Papo Kaʻao and the Kaʻao Framework are intended to do for our college community. So this is what we're working towards. So what is the Kaʻao Framework? Basically, the Kaʻao Framework is made of 4 parts: hua, haʻalele, huakaʻi, and hoʻi. Today, I'm going to give a brief overview of hua, but look more closely at haʻalele. So if you come in the next weeks, we had hua last time, and we went into depth with that, and then we'll have haʻalele this time. I'll do a little review and then move forward, and each successive week we'll do the same thing. So the hua is the big why, the big dream. Yeah, all of these things that we want to have in our life. The haʻalele is a preparation to separate, or a commitment to doing, for the student, going to school, and for us, maybe why we're getting up in the morning. The huakaʻi is the journey itself, as you move through life, as you move through college, as you move through work. What is that journey? What is that experience? And then hoʻi, sometimes also called hoʻina, is the give back, to contribute back to that which helped you get to where you're going, but also where you started. So a brief overview of hua as we are looking at student success. These would be the questions you would want to have your students think about. The big why, the big dream. Why are you here? Why did you decide to come to college? Why do you want to get a degree? And what is your dream for the future? Maybe you can do an activity that will help them go through the thinking process of selecting and recognizing their hua. Maybe share your own hua for going to college, getting your degree, teaching, or whatever that seed or that impetus was for what you do. Maybe share if your hua has changed over the course of your life or if it has remained the same. Sometimes hua changes. And then the hua can be what they return to when times get rough. When times get rough, gotta think again. Why? Yeah, what was my hua? What is my hua? Why am I doing this? So I wanted to share a little bit about my my hua when it came to school. When I first, and again, my kids always think it's when dinosaurs walked upon the land. But when I graduated from high school, I went to college because it was an expectation. There was never in our household a question about, are you going to college? The question only was, where are you going to college? It was never, are you going to college? My mother was an advocate of education. And so it was where, not why. Schooling was just straight through. There's no break, straight through. You're going to go college, automatic. Yeah, high school, college, automatic. Well, that first trip into college was, the hua at that time was because my mother said so. Yeah, I didn't really have my own hua. It really was, why am I going to college? Because my mother says I have to. And then, okay, I got to think about what that means about going to school. Well, what it really meant for me is I didn't do well. And I think because I didn't have my own hua, I didn't do well at all. Okay, I never ever in my whole high school life got any D or any F. My mother's grading system was a C is like a D, a B is like a C. That was her grading system. I went to my first semester of college. I got 2 Ds and 1 F. My mother had a flying fit. But went to the second semester. I had 2 Ds and 2 Fs. So that's 4 classes. You only have 5 or 6. So you know how my life was going. Mostly that came because this was me. Drive to school. This was at the University of Hawaii, Manoa. Drive to school, drive around looking for parking. Cannot find parking. I'm going beach. That would be me. Or sitting in the cafeteria, talking to your friends. Class is going to start in 15 minutes. Keep talking. Class is going to start in 10 minutes. Keep talking. Oh, shucks, class started already. Never mind. I'm not going. That was me. And I don't think I'm the only student ever to think like that. Henceforth, my mother says, that's enough. I'm not paying for you to get D's and F's. Go work. Because that was the other choice, right? Go school or go work. So I went to work. I got married. I had 3 children. I got divorced. And then decided to go back to school. Because then my hua changed. My hua to go back to school had to do with my family, with being able to provide for a better life for my children. Because I saw with no education, I would probably always be in entry-level jobs. So I went back to school. My mother thought that was not the smartest thing to do, but I did it anyway. Went back to school and then completed my degree work. So when I tell students this story, it's a story that says things are going to get bumpy, but you got to have a hua. You got to have something to think about. Because the second time I went to college, my hua was established by me. And when the times came hard, Like you had to do homework after the kids came home from school, after they fed, after they were bathed, after they did their homework. And so you started your homework at 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, so those, but I was able to return to my hua because it was mine. And it was the thing that drove me. So hua is that. Hua is that which will keep you going when times are hard. So here we are with the Haʻalele, the preparation and separation, or in other words, you gotta commit. Yeah, this is all about getting ready. It takes many forms that are physical, intellectual, and emotional. This is a decision-making process as well as a physical action process. Both of them come into play when Haʻalele happens. It is where the student, as well as ourselves, make the decision and take the action toward your hua. It is the first action step and the first emotional step as well. It involves us and others in our lives. It's a biggie. You know, when you think about, I am the only one in my, let's say, I am the only one in my friends and family that are going to college. Oh, that's a biggie. That's a big step out. My friends are not thinking about college. Okay, I have another story. I get plenty of stories because I live a long time. I get plenty of stories. Okay, what do you leave behind, need to leave behind? What will go with you? I have a younger sister, and she's 19 years younger than me. So I was already out of the house and on my way when she graduated from high school. And again, automatic, going to college. Okay, so I was partially raised in Waimanalo. And one of our favorite places in Waimanalo at the time was the bakery, because they made fresh bread. You come home from work, you stop by the bakery, buy 2 loaves fresh bread, because one going to be gone before you get to the house. So the bakery was kind of that, you know, there's always some place in a little town where everybody rotates in and out of. There was Mel's Market and there was the bakery in Waimanalo. So one day my mother goes into the bakery, talk to the lady behind the counter, that's the automatic, and the lady asks her, oh, what is Ulalia going to do after she graduates from high school? And my mother goes, oh, she's going to go to college. And she goes, really? And she said, yes. And the bakery lady tells her, well, I told my son he should go right to work because he can make more money that way. And then she asked my mother, she says, why is Ulalia going to college? And my mother says, so that she can be his boss. That's the kind of mother I had. So she can be his boss. So the thinking of that kind of what are you going to leave behind and what are you going to take with you? They have to leave behind sometimes the friends that are in the garage on Friday night because they got to do homework, they have class on Saturday. Yeah, so it's getting ready. But when it comes to college, it's also getting ready with, okay, you got to go get your application, you got to put in your application to school, you got to look for your counselor that's going to help you select classes, you go look for money. These are all the things that have to be done to prepare to go to college. But it all takes commitment. It's the first big step out when a student is thinking about going to school. A'ohe hana nui ke alu ia. No task is too big when done together by all. We know that the Haʻalele is where we're going to need our first recognition that we need help. If we're looking at our students, this is where they know that they know very little about what to do. It's a scary place to be. It is where we provide their first feeling and receiving of support. It is where we make the difference between them coming back tomorrow or never coming back again. We all have a vested interest in helping the Haʻalele of our students. But I'd also like for you to think about what might be that Haʻalele in your own personal life. Yeah, we're not going to get to that right now, but keep that a little bit in the back of your mind. Okay. Now, why do we use Kaʻao? You know, this is called the Kaʻao Framework. Why do we use Kaʻao as a teaching tool? What is the importance of a Kaʻao? It is how teaching has happened through all cultures, throughout all of their history. It is place-based, it is community-based, it is personal. These Kaʻao are intended to be told from generation to generation. They're not just children's stories. They are stories of life and living and should be remembered by all ages. Kaʻao teach us a lesson, or maybe more than one sometimes. So here we have this that says, He Kaʻao o Maui. So who is Maui? The Kaʻao that I wanted to talk story about is Maui Unites the Islands. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down those 4 words, hua, haʻalele, huakaʻi, and hoʻi on a piece of paper by you. And as the story begins to unfold, I would like you to think about what is the hua in this story? What is the haʻalele in this story? What is the huakaʻi in this story? And what is the hoʻi in this story? In the story, I'm going to read this. I know you can read, but I'm going to read it anyway. In the story of how Maui fished out the islands, we learned that Maui wasn't a good fisherman as his brothers were, and they never wanted to take him fishing beyond the reefs because then they wouldn't catch any fish. Maui went back to his mother, Hina Keahi, for help because he knew that he had a greater mission to fulfill. Maui suggested to Hina that he should try to draw the islands together, uniting them into one land. Hina told Maui to go see Alai Nui a Hina, the great alai bird, who would tell him what to do. The alai told him that they must leave the area of Kipahulu, their families, and their mother, and head south. There they would find the great ulua, Kimoi, and they should capture him. She also told Maui to take her with them as she would help him gather the islands together. Oh, I wanted to do a little preface. I went to forget before. The Kaʻao in our culture, like I said, were place-based often. And so every island has their own version of Maui stories. And every island throughout the Pacific has their own version of Maui stories. So for those of you who may be from other islands and know your Maui stories, you might be sitting there going, that's not how it goes. Trust me, for us on Maui, this is how it goes. Yeah. So we are place-based. I live on Maui. These are Maui stories. So yeah. So if you're from Oahu or Hawaii Island, you're going, that's not how it goes. He doesn't leave from Kipahulu. He leaves from Pu'uloa, or he leaves from Wailuku, or he leaves from someplace else. Yeah, okay. You tell the story, it's your place base. I tell the story, it's my place base. So, Alai told him to leave from Kipahulu and to leave their families behind and to look for the great Ulua Pimoi. Okay, gang. I'm kind of new at Slido, so you're my guinea pigs. I'm going to ask you to play Slido with me. Yeah, and I'm still learning, so if this goes a little bit cuckoo, be patient with me. So those of you who know about Slido, go ahead and join at slido.com. And it's the T606, or if you have your phone and you want to just put it up on the QR code, you can do that. And mark, set, ready, go. And you don't have to copy everybody else, you know. I know there are about 12 people in this room, not just 6. See, and that's what it tells me. Say beep, 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 okay? So I'm waiting for you to play with me.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Okay.
All right,
So,
1 second, I gotta change my battery.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So you can do through the QR code. You just put your telephone photo camera, and it should.
Hello, do you have a face mask with you?
Yes, I do.
You can order when you're ready.
Can I get a number 8, please?
You want that supreme?
Do you have a Dr. Pepper? I'll take that. And can I also get a 12-pack of the Cinnabon Delights, please?
Okay.
That's all.
Any sauce for you?
Mild.
Mild sauce, is everything correct on your screen?
Yes.
1401 at the window.
Thank you.
Was all of that for me? Was all that conversation for me and I just didn't understand it?
No, it wasn't for you, and I'm trying to mute her, but I'm having a challenge to do that.
So just tell her now, Kainoa, mute your phone. I mean your computer.
I think she's in the drive-through, so must be phone.
Okay, we're up to 11. We're up to 11, so that's a goodie. So what is the right answer? False. He wasn't a good one. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Excuse me. So it was false. Upon hearing Maui's plan and Hina's directions, Maui's brothers, Maui Mua, Maui Waina, and Maui Hope, finally consented. They prepared their canoe and fishing lines and pushed out to sea. Soon Maui saw a bailing gourd floating by the canoe, picked it up, and placed it at the back of the canoe. Everybody know what a bailing gourd is? If you've paddled canoe they kind of use a cut-off Clorox bottle nowadays. Yeah, it goes, have a little handle, and it's what you scoop the water out of the bottom of the canoe with. That's what a canoe baler is. Okay, so he found one floating. And in Hawaii, it was either made out of wood or it was made out of a gourd. So this one, it says it was made out of a gourd. And he placed it in the back of the canoe. It was named Hina ke Ka, Hina the baler. They continued paddling toward Honuaula until they saw Lai o Kanaloa. Kipahulu was now far in the distance, and Honuaula was before them. When they finally stopped, they saw a beautiful young woman in the boat. When the brothers anchored and again looked into the boat, the young woman was gone. They only saw a bailing gourd instead and threw it into the sea. Okay, Slido game again. Who was Maui's mother? And by the way, these are all for real Hina names. So who was Maui's mother? Joyce, I'm just double checking. We do have 12 people, yeah? Oh, no, we have 14. Okay, so shoot, we got more than 12. People came in when I wasn't looking. So Joyce, is 14 how many we have in our room?
No, we have 22.
22, come on, you guys, play. 22, come on, you guys, play. Don't be hiding behind somebody else. You're the student that's sitting in the back of the row, right? With the dark glasses on. That's you. Sitting in the back of the row with the dark glasses on, pretending. Play. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. It's still at 14. Do, 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 do. We can't be waiting for you all day, and that's what you're hoping for, yeah? You're the student in the back of the room with the dark glasses, and when you get called upon, you just be quiet and hope you just wait them out. Yeah, that's you. All right. You know, guessing is good, right? We do that all the time when we have tests. Yeah, we guess all the time. Okay. All right. Now, this is very interesting. And it wasn't a trick question, but it was kind of a trick question. Who was Maui's mother? For the majority of you, it would have been the name that you heard in the story. And the name that you heard in the story was Hina Keahi. Now, if you know other Hina stories, some of these other names show up. Hina Hanaya Kamalama is also one. But in this story, it was Hina Keahi. It comes out of, and I chose that one because it comes out of the Kumulipo. It comes out of the Kumulipo as Akalana is Maui's father and Hina Keahi is his mother. So I chose this one. But those other Hinas play into Maui stories as well. So you're not completely wrong. The thing that is not so correct, the one that's not so correct, is Hina Ka, because Hina Ka was the baler that was found floating on the water. Yeah. The other Hina are for real kind Hina as well. So for this story, Hina Akeahi was Maui's mother. As they were fishing, Maui Mua threw his hook and caught a large fish, which was seen to be a shark as they drew it to the surface. This is not what they were after, so at once they cut the line. So also Maui Hope and Maui Waina dropped their hooks, but only caught sharks, which had to be let go. At last, Maui threw his hook, Manaya Kalani, into the sea, which was baited with the Alai Nui Ahina. You know, the one that says, oh, take me with you. She was the bait. It went down, down into the depths. Maui cried, Hina Keka has my hook in her hand. By her, it will be made fast. Hina Keka went down with the hook until she met the large ulua Pimoi. She asked him to open his mouth, then threw the hook far inside and made it fast. Then she pulled the line so Maui should know that the fish was caught. Maui fastened the line to the outrigger of the canoe and asked his brothers to paddle with all diligence and not look back. After 2 days of fighting this large catch, the line finally gave some slack. Then Maui took a paddle and dipped deep in the sea. The boat moved more swiftly through the sea. As the brothers paddled, Maui pulled and the earth trembled. One brother looked back. Maui's line snapped and his fish hook flew into the sky. Then Maui knew that his journey was to draw up the islands and to provide the stars to return home. What we have left of his catch are the islands he pulled up and the Manaya Kalani constellation high up in the heavens. And so the 3 pictures is the ulua, our islands, and the star constellation known as Manaya Kalani. Okay, so of all the things I read, what one word will remind you of this story? If you hear one word, what will go, oh, yeah, that's the Maui pulling up the island story? What one word? This is a word cloud, so you type in whatever word you want to use. What will be that key word for you? I bet you didn't think you would have homework, yeah, or have to do thinking. What will remind you of Maui hooks up the islands, or Maui unites the islands, or Maui pulls up the islands, or Maui fishes for the islands, or what became of his fish hook, or where was he, for Maui people? What was important about this story? What was the lesson? Yeah, what was the lesson in this story maybe? I'll wait for a couple of you to weigh in, a couple more of you to weigh in. Okay, for you guys who don't want to play, we're gonna move on. No need to read this, but this is the whole story at one particular time. In case you want to go back at the recording and have it all in one place rather than have to cut and paste and put things together. I just put that here so that you'll have the whole story in one continuous piece. Okay, all right, now there's your, pull out your list. Yeah, you were supposed to write, what is the hua? What is the haʻalele? What was the huakaʻi? And what was the hoʻi? You can unmute yourself and just chime in. This is not a Slido thing. You just unmute yourself and chime in. What was the hua?
To unite the islands.
Unite the islands. What else? Is that the, I heard two voices, but maybe it was one statement.
I said the same. Unite the islands.
Okay.
To find this purpose.
Okay. Anybody else?
He was aspiring to be as good of a fisherman as his brothers.
Okay. Anyone else? Who can remind us, what is the hua? The hua is the purpose, the reason, the seed, the impetus, all of those kind words for the action. Yeah, the impetus for the action. Okay, haʻalele. What was the haʻalele? Haʻalele is preparation, separation, and commitment. So in the story, what could be counted as the haʻalele?
Talking to his mother and the Alaya.
Okay. Anyone else? What did he have to prepare?
To prepare to go beyond the reef because it wasn't where he explored before, so that he knew that he was going to find answers to what he was searching for.
Prepare? So what did he have to prepare? The actual stuff. He had stuff he had to prepare. Just like when you go to
the
school.
canoe, yeah.
Yeah.
The canoe, the fishing lines.
Anything else?
The gourd. Oh no, not the gourd.
The hook.
Okay. What did he leave behind? So if it's preparation, separation, and commitment. Yeah, so preparation, and then there was a separation. That's all part of the haʻalele. What was the separation part? Because if we think of our lives or the lives of our students, sometimes there's a separation going on. What might that
His
be?
home.
I'm
His
sorry?
home, his ohana.
Yeah, yeah.
It's to explore places that he's never been. So it was the risk that he was taking in search of what he was looking for.
So the separation was his home,
Mhm.
his family, his community. Yeah, he was separating from them. Yeah, his aina, he was going to a completely different aina. Yeah, completely different place. We don't know if he knew of this place before or not. It's not said in the story. If it is completely new or it's just he knew where it was before. We don't know. Okay, then we got the huaka'i, the journey, the experiencing. What was part of his huaka'i? The journey and the experience. What was part of that huaka'i? What was that in this story? It's where he is gaining, or not necessarily him, it's where experience is happening in the story.
That it took a couple of tries before he got to where he needed to get, what he was trying to get to.
Yeah, yeah. You
So
know,
the
the
shark,
brothers,
the ulua, yeah.
yeah, yeah. They caught shark first. That wasn't so good at cut the line. The brothers kept catching shark. That's not what they were looking for. So they were gaining, it was gaining the experience of knowing what to look for. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Anything else about the trip, the journey itself? What is being learned in the journey? What is being acquired in the journey? Because if we think of our students, what is that is being acquired by them in their journey through school as well? Yeah? Okay, so then what is the ho'i? What is the return? What is the outcome? Maybe that's a good word. The give back, the outcome, the give back. What is the give back?
Pulling up and uniting the islands.
Okay, what else? Yes, good. What does the stars, why did I put the picture of the Manaya Kalani constellation? What are the stars all about?
To remind him of the journey, or to always remind them of the journey when they see that.
Yes, and also how to
Direction.
get home.
Yeah, the direction to get home.
Yeah, the stars
The
are
pathway.
up from where he was, and it will always guide him home, or them, us, to this very day. Because that story is to this very day, that the Manaya Kalani guides us home. Yeah, the Manaya Kalani guides us home. Okay, good job. See, not so easy sometimes to see, oh, what are the 4 things in the story that I have no clue about? Okay. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about the Haʻalele. Now that we see how the framework can fit in a Kaʻao and why Kaʻao are important, how does this fit into your life and into the lives of your students? And we're going to focus on Haʻalele, yeah, the separation, the preparation, the commitment. This is all about getting ready. Yeah, this is all about getting ready. It takes many forms that are physical, intellectual, and emotional. This is the decision-making process. as well as a physical action process. If we're talking about our students and student success, this is where we know that there has been this commitment to come to school. Sometimes it's strong, sometimes it's a little shaky. Yeah, but there was that commitment that made the first step, because we all know that in that first step, something had to be left behind. Yeah, maybe you're the first one in your family to go to college. And maybe the rest of your family thinks that it's a foolish thing for you to do because you're going to waste 4 years for what? You're going to waste 4 years going to school, and what do you have to show for it? Only a paper. Maybe some people don't understand the why, and that's where got to go back to the hua. So sometimes things are left behind. Sometimes you bring things with you, yeah? And then there are those, how are you and how are they going to get ready? This is the get ready place, yeah? And if you want to think about, because remember I told you, you got to think about this about you too. Your haʻalele, your getting ready, your need to also take a first step. While these statements are for student success, I would like you to think about how it is for you. It can be as simple as get up in the morning. What is your preparation? What gotta be left behind? Oh my gosh, I'm late. I gotta leave the dishes in the sink. Yeah, because I'm late. That's still gonna be pulling at you, perhaps in your head as you're at work. Oh my gosh, I forgot to take out food from the freezer for us to have dinner tonight. Oh my gosh, you know, things pull at you when you leave them behind sometimes. The same thing happens with our students. Things pull at them sometimes when they have had to leave it behind. But at the same token, if it's, you got up this morning, you committed, I'm going to work. Whether that go to work means, because this is the commitment, whether it means I'm going to get up, take a shower, brush my teeth, brush my hair, and change my clothes. Yeah, that's all the preparation for your haʻalele into your day, because you could very easily go, hell with it. I'm just staying in my pajamas. Nobody will know. Yeah, but it's the commitment to work that you have made. Yeah, that's all part of a daily commitment as well. Okay. So this is for you to fill out. What has been a haʻalele for, oh no, did I say this was a fill out? What do you see? Nope, it's not. This is a talk story. That's why I don't have the little doohickey on the side. This is a talk story. What has been a haʻalele for you in your life? You know, I was talking about this morning, get up, go work, but we have all had haʻalele that we have had to think about and do and step into and out of and commit to in our lives. So I would like folks to unmute and tell us what you think your haʻalele has been in your life. We're sharing.
Well, Bobby here. Well, currently now, I mean, there's so many people that I don't get to see anymore because we're distancing ourselves and staying safe. So I've had to separate myself from my community, like physically. You know, you can get together on Zoom, but for me, it's not the same.
Yeah,
So
and so you know how that feels for you, yeah?
Yeah.
You have to separate.
Yeah, it's been an adjustment, and it's been heartbreaking on some level. And also it's brought me more inward. Like it's brought out that introvert, that, you know, I walk a fine line because it's okay, but too much of that is not okay. Because
Not
I still,
okay.
yeah, I still need people, the energy of people. So, and then just the daily things now, the checklist of getting in my car. It's like, do you have your mask? This, that, you know, the whole
Like, do I
thing.
have, do I have my gloves? Do I have my mask hidden? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have my sanitizer in my purse?
Yes.
Is there
Did I
one-
wipe off the doorknob going into this building? Yeah, yeah. So all of that, I just have had so much preparation and the commitment to stay healthy and keep doing it, because I want to be lazy.
Okay, thank you so much, Bobby.
Yes.
Somebody else? What has been a haʻalele for you in your life?
I'll go.
Yes.
Mine is before I worked at Gear Up, I worked at Child Welfare Services, or the old Child Protective Service. And it was always like my dream to work there, but my supervisor at the time, she didn't really see potential in, I guess, promoting me, even though I have a degree. But that was my journey to separate from them, which was super hard because I got my psychology degree to work there and then to have to separate. But now I like it at Gear Up. I still miss child welfare because I think that's always going to be inside of me, that purpose to want to help abused and neglect children. But that was the hardest separation I felt I had to do in all of my jobs that I moved on from. That was the hardest.
Mahalo. Thank you, Puna. Anyone else?
I have one. I decided to go back to school to get my master's in marine botany, and it ended up taking 7 years because I did it at Manoa, and I went back and forth every week. And then one semester I took a semester off and moved there, but the rest of the time I just commuted back and forth. And then I did my research on Maui, and it ended up, because I was working the whole time, seemed like it took forever, but I finally graduated last year.
Yay!
That was pretty big.
Mahalo. Anyone else?
I guess I can go.
Yes.
I think in hindsight, everything up until this point of my life in my career has been a preparation to what I'm able to do now. While going through everything from where I was till now, it didn't seem like preparation, but looking back, I can definitely say with confidence that everything that I've done in my career, in education, in my life has prepared me for this point.
Mahalo. Mahalo. One more, please.
I'll share, Auntie Hoku.
Okay. Hi, Nasi. Okay.
You know, working from home is different. This idea of separation, you made me think about, I'm a new mom, and the heartache of leaving my baby just in the other room is so hard. I contemplate whether or not I should ask for a decrease in hours because my heart is out there, right in the other room, and I can't imagine what it would be like going to an office every day. It's a just different thing, but it's the Haʻalele, I guess, the separation and the. My mom reminds me I went to school for a reason, so I can't just.
Your hua nasi, your hua.
I gotta remember my hua. So I appreciate these talk story and grounding sessions.
Hey, mahalo nasi. And mahalo everyone for sharing. I think it might be a good thing, a good exercise maybe, is if you might want to write down a little something about just for yourself. This is not homework, just for yourself to write down that haʻalele for you. Yeah? Part of it is for you to understand that that is the physical, emotional, mental is all part of the haʻalele, and to recognize that, but also if we work with students to understand that that's happening for them too. And so this may make you a little bit more empathetic towards what they need, they may be going through as well. He ho'okele wa'a no kala ino, a canoe steersman for a stormy day, a courageous person. When we think of haʻalele, you must be a courageous person. To bring haʻalele into your life, to go through a haʻalele, you must be brave. Our students must be brave, and we must honor and applaud that. Leaving what we know is not easy. Going to places that are unknown is not easy. But through this Kaʻao framework, we know and have cultural examples of how that is necessary. It is a necessary part of growth. Whether we left our homeland to travel 3,000 miles into the unknown, whether we went to college, the first in our family, whether we left home to go to college, the first time ever, or whether we are doing something that we have never done before. We have been courageous. Our students have been courageous, and we have committed to doing it. This Olelo No'eo, I believe, reflects haʻalele, that the preparation is so that we can be courageous to do the physical first step out. Hawaii is the foundation of our world because it is where we live. All that Hawaii is about should permeate our lives in and out of college. We have chosen it to be our home. We should make it an important part of our lives. Mahalo. So anybody got questions? Comments? Comments are good. Comments are good too. Questions or comments are good.
Mahalo. This was very timely today. Yes.
Good. Good.
As always, I enjoy. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad.
And inspiring too. Thank you.
Yeah, you know, this Kaʻao framework is to balance us and to make us more understanding of the journey. Yeah, more understanding of the journey of our students in student success, the journey perhaps in our department or in our office, and the journey within ourselves as well. Anyone else would like to share? I mean, just not put you on the line, just wondering. Or anybody got a question? So if you know, this always happens to me when I do stuff. You're driving home. You're driving home and then you go, I should have asked this. I should have said this. You can send the email to either Joyce. If you have my hhp@hawaii.edu, you can send it here and I will do my best as well. Otherwise, mahalo ya oko pakahiapau. Thank you, all of you, for your time and for being here today. Joyce?
Thank you, Hōkulani. That was wonderful. I will be sharing out the evaluation survey as well as the recording from today's session and Hōkulani's PowerPoint slides. So thank you so much for being here today. Please email us if you have any questions. I'm going to stop the recording now.